Okay, leaving the negatives, let's go into the positives of why, despite the game causing me physical harm, I actually lasted 8 hours over the course of like 3 days. The main missions impressed the hell out of me. If you watch my Golden Gate Bridge mission, you can see that I am actually visibly happy throughout most of the video except during certain parts. Primarily, I didn't enjoy the Iron Man section of that playthrough, and I hated it when Hulk glitched out. But otherwise, I loved the hell out of that first mission. And also the second main mission, which features Hulk and Ms. Marvel, and at the end culminates in an awesome boss battle with the Abomination, I absolutely love. So despite all of the jank, all of the glitchiness, and all of this nonsense that I had to put up through the beta, those first two main missions were just great. I loved them. Now afterwards, what would happen is you take control of Kamala Khan and you have access to the helicarrier, which they call the Chimera in this game. They couldn't just call it the helicarrier for whatever reason. They had to call it like a cool name unique to just this specific game franchise, you know? But in any case, you get to go around the Chimera, and the Chimera actually also impressed me because it was pretty empty and it was just full of trash during the beta. But as revealed in past war tables, the more you go through the story and the missions of the game, the more you can fill it up with other characters and cool stuff and personalized decorations and all this wonderful stuff. Now, Suikoden 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. I loved the hell out of it back in the PS1 era, and this just gives me shades of you creating your own castle. You like decorating and creating your castle in Suikoden 2, and I loved that. That was like one of the reasons why I love Suikoden 2 so much. So I got those vibes from the Chimera / the helicarrier in this game. So I love that. And also, the acting did impress me quite a bit. During the helicarrier sequence, the Chimera sequence, we get some good dialogue exchanges, some good emotional moments between Kamala and Bruce Banner, and just in the short scenes of theirs that I saw, the actors just knocked it out of the park. Both the voice actors and the mocap actors, I don't know if they're the same people, but the mocap looked really good, and yeah, the voice work, the writing, the dialogue, and the directing were also spot on based on what I saw. And that actually got me extremely excited for the main game, because especially if you've watched my past reaction videos for this game, you'll find out that I wasn't really jazzed about the story. Like, I hated the whole sad Avengers base for the story, and I wasn't that excited for MODOK, and I disliked that we're getting an X-Men story, but without X-Men, with like the less cooler versions of the X-Men, aka the Inhumans, you know? So all of these things combined made me sort of not look forward to the story, but based on the scenes, the main story scenes that I have seen from this beta, I've pretty much completely turned around and am now really looking forward to what the main story will be like in the main game. Now, talking about the gameplay, overall, I actually really like the overall gameplay. So, okay, here it is. It's an extremely simple game. It's a very expensive brawler. Like, you know, the very recent Streets of Rage 4? Or, more accurately, like the past Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. Now, I love the hell out of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. Those are also very simple games, but I love them primarily because of the multiplayer aspects. It was extremely fun to play with someone in those games, and plus the huge variety of characters made me just want to play the games until the end. Plus, for me, the stories weren't bad. They weren't amazing, but they were like good enough to interest me to finish the games. Now, I don't have a Nintendo Switch, so I never played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, unfortunately, but from what I heard, it's even better than either Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, and I already really like those ones. So, this was actually, funnily enough, this was actually my wish for this game. I don't think I mentioned it in any of my reaction videos, but secretly, just in the back of my mind, I just wished for this game to be just a AAA Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. Primarily because I haven't played... I have both on Steam, but I haven't touched either in a while. And again, like, I guess it's just me as well making up for the fact that I've never been able to try out Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, that I wanted this one to be my Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, you know? And we pretty much got that. Funnily enough. Because here's the thing is, again, the game is extremely simple. It's nowhere near like the Batman Arkham games or the Sony Spider-Man game where there are a ton of options and things to do. Like, no, not really. It's really... Now, this is dumbing it down a bit too much, but it's essentially the same thing over and over and over again, but everything looks extremely pretty. Just like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. It's because that's how it was in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, and most brawlers, you know, like, again, Streets of Rage 4, it's essentially the same thing over and over and over again, but with some twists here and there to keep you interested. And that's pretty much why brawlers like Streets of Rage 4 are inherently short, because that's just the way they are, and that's just the way Marvel's Avengers is. Yes, there are 6 characters, and they do have unique powers and things like that, but in the end, they all play pretty similarly to each other. It's not like in Street Fighter where Ryu plays completely different from Dalsim and Zangief and Blanca and all of these. And you have to completely relearn the character. Like, those characters that I mentioned, like Ryu, Blanca, Dalsim, and Zangief, play nothing like each other, and you just have to completely relearn them. And all good fighting games are like this, and that's what makes them interesting. You know, Mortal Kombat, Guilty Gear, Marvel vs. Capcom, and so on and so forth. And again, this goes back to my Streets of Rage 4 comparison, is that, yes, you get 6 characters at the start. You get, like, who do we get? We got Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Iron Man, Captain America, and Ms. Marvel, right? With confirmed DLCs down the line. The officially confirmed ones are Hawkeye and Ant-Man, right? But there has been a recent leak, because, you know, people data mine the Steam version, so they find things out. And there are apparently 15 DLC characters, including Hawkeye and Ant-Man. Off the top of the head, I can remember Captain Marvel, who Captain Marvel is actually name dropped in the beta. And my first reaction was, oh, 100% she's going to be DLC for this game down the line. But like other characters that I remember from the leaks were She-Hulk, Black Panther, Falcon, and a bunch of others. There are 15 characters that were discovered in the data mine. So I can't speak for those characters. Hopefully they're going to play very differently and uniquely, and that's going to be like your motivation to buy them. You're going to get your Zangief to your Ryu, so not everyone plays like Ryu. And all 6 of your base starting characters are like that. You don't, like, none of them are completely unique to each other. They all share that specific DNA of how they play. So yes, Iron Man flies, and everyone's projectiles function differently. Hulk does his ground rip from the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Thor has Mjolnir. Captain America has his shield. Black Widow's got her dual-wielding pistols. And Kamala does her stretchy thing. But in the end, gameplay-wise, mechanically, they function pretty much the same. And it's the same sort of light attack, heavy attack, button mashy usage for all of the character combos. You dodge pretty much exactly the same and jump almost exactly the same as each character. But again, there are differences. They're not exactly the same. I will say that. So traversal becomes a bit more interesting because each character explores the world differently. So Hulk bounds about the world. Again, Iron Man flies. Kamala and Black Widow swing like Spider-Man. I never got to explore much with Captain America, but he seems to be the most boring among everyone in terms of world exploration because he can't fly or bound or whatever like the other characters. He just runs, which is kind of unfortunate. When you're in combat, which is like 80% of the game or something, everyone's gonna feel extremely similar. And exploration, while I do say that exploration per character becomes much more interesting, and also the fact that again, the game is extremely pretty, the game is big, each environment is huge, and there's a ton to explore and see, and there is lots of nooks and crannies that hide items for you to collect. So it's really fun in that regard.